Before I begin this review, I'd like to say that I have a very soft spot for anything related to Zelda, to the Zelda series, because this was the series that made me learn English and that made me fall in love with the language. So I have played many Zeldas, not not the ones that I would consider. Well, they're all related. They are all part of the main series, right? Except the Hyrule Warriors and all that. But I gotta say that I have played all Zeldas of Nintendo 64. I have played the Minish Cap. I have played Wind Waker. Oh, I loved playing Wind Waker. I refused to play uh, Skyward Sword because I think it was a very ugly game and I was obligated to use those horrible controls from Nintendo Wii. So, no, but I played Twilight Princess, I have played uh, Breath of the Wild, and now this one. I was so eager to play this one. And I gotta say, reviewing this game is not easy. Not easy at all, because I do think that, first and foremost, this game is not only a game, it's it's a work of art. Therefore, while I was writing this review, I had to think, how do I review this? How can I review this? What do I take into consideration? What do I really take into consideration? Right? I have to talk about gameplay, I have to talk about story, I have to talk about visuals, I have to talk about its importance, and it's not that I loved this game. No, I didn't. I did not love this game. But I truly recognize its importance in video games history. And I think very few games have the power to not only shape itself, like reshape itself, but change the game, upset the balance of power, or whatever other idiom you want to put it. But I think what Tears of the Kingdom is able to do is to shake the industry to its core. And I gotta say, for better or worse, I don't think the industry will be the same anymore. And again, I did not love this game, but I truly recognize what a gem it is. Welcome everyone. I'm the Gamer on a Budget, and this is gonna be a very, very tough Alright, so how do I start? Well, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Tears of the Kingdom starts incredibly atmospheric. Music on point, voice acting on point, darkness on point, expectations on point, which, in a way, I do think that the trailers spoiled the surprises a bit. Not everything. Not everything was spoiled by the trailers, but it was to feel the surprise that the very first minutes evoke. If you had, if you watch the trailer, you might not feel it. You might be like, oh yeah, I saw this, I saw this. So what is gonna happen after this? Which, in a way, builds up an expectation that you might feel frustrated. Tears of the Kingdom is the direct sequel of Breath of the Wild. And I have played Breath of the Wild for many hours. It was not, I don't know if it was my favorite Zelda game, because I still think that Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask have a very significant role. Oops. They have a very significant role in my life. But I do think that Breath of the Wild made me see all the potential that the Zelda lore could carry, and how mature it could be, it could become, you know. Because I always felt, I read once that some people said on YouTube that the Witcher series is what the Zelda series would be if it was allowed to grow up. I disagree. I don't, even though they are like fantasy games and all that, I honestly don't see the connection. I think Zelda is more beautiful and it's richer than The Witcher is, you know. But I love the game, don't get me wrong. But Breath of the Wild felt from the very beginning that the stakes were really high and that Hyrule was lost because you lost, you died and came back to save it. It's something that, for the first time in Zelda lore, you like you actually lost and had the chance to be brought back and fight again, you know. So the result of the world, the result of your loss was that world, you know. A world that we felt that anything could kill you. Then after you finish it, you are like, oh, finally, so the world is at peace. I like how Tears of the Kingdom makes you feel that Link is a powerful knight, a powerful warrior, the hero, you know. And I love how you start really strong, and then because of a very poignant part of the story, you lose everything and you have to restart. I wish, for example, Kingdom Hearts did something similar. Instead of making Sora forget always who he was and all that. I mean, by this time, the poor boy his brain is like mashed potatoes or something like this, you know. Um, Now, it is very interesting how the game shows us that the Master Sword that all the other games told us that was the blade that would banish evil or something like this, you know, is not invincible. It can break. It can lose. And with that, you know, it made me feel that, oh my god, like now is the real deal, you know. So you lost to a very powerful threat last game, but this one, this is the real threat, you know. And you lost again. So when we are given this this role of the hero that loses but has to bounce back from this defeat, I love it. I love it. I love this iteration of Link. I think Link and Zelda in both games are just perfect. I love the protagonist, and I honestly hate the silent protagonist trope, but Link is the example of how you build a very good silent protagonist. I also love the voice acting, but I question why is it there if it's gonna be only a few sentences, if it's gonna be used only in a few sentences. We're past this, you know. You tried in Breath of the Wild, you received the feedback, and you decided to put it again, so use it, you know. Make the game fully voiced. Why would we watch a cutscene and then suddenly we have everything is silent again? I mean, I don't see the point in this choice. I think it's a very questionable choice, actually. You know, a very bad artistic choice, in my opinion. Uh, but the the story is there, and I don't think that the way this story develops is the best. Because let's face it, let's not face it. Sorry, let's remember, uh, it's a direct sequel from Breath of the Wild. So every hype and expectation that game built, I will say that Tears of the Kingdom squashes it a bit. And I felt a bit disappointed. Sorry, you heard the sound. It was like my Xbox saying that it's about to turn off. But anyways, I feel that because I can remember clearly when Urbosa says, "Oh, the calamity started with the Gerudo," and it talked about Naboro. It talked about all that. Like it gave us all those Easter eggs about Ocarina of Time and all that. You know, about the sages, about the Gerudo lore and all that. And to see Tears of the Kingdom trying to rewrite Zelda lore. I know that there are many videos lurking on the internet talking about the many theories and the many timelines and all that, but until Nintendo says we do not want to try to rewrite Zelda lore, I will not believe it. I felt really bothered with uh, seeing some of the same scenes that we saw in Ocarina of Time, as Ganondorf swearing fealty to the King of Hyrule, and you know the same thing in a different frame, in a different maybe moment in time and all that. And I gotta say that I was like, are you really trying to say that none of that happened and this is the current timeline now? No, no, ma'am, not at all. You're not gonna do this. And yet, we're given a Zelda in previous game that says, it mentions the Twilight, mentions the Great Sea, mentions the time, and all that. You know, all those Easter eggs related to Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time. You know, so I will say that I decided to believe that this Hyrule And all these characters, they are from a much further ahead in time Hyrule. And all the games that we have played, they happened. And we all agreed that the timelines converged because we have Rito and we have Zoras together in the same game. And in Wind Waker, it explains what happened to Rito and what happened to the Zora. You know, uh, so I will decide. Like I decided to believe in this. You know, but then decided to believe in this does not change the fact that they simply decided to rehash the story. You're already giving us Ganondorf, and it's not a spoiler. You showed him on the trailers, you know. Why make such a simple, simple-minded Ganondorf? What happened to the, the, the deepest Ganondorf that you had in Wind Waker, for example? That was the epitome of what a Ganondorf should be. But also, what about the Ganondorf in Twilight Princess? You know, why such a simple-minded Ganondorf that just wanted to destroy everything? Why recreate all those scenes from Ocarina of Time again and again and again? For that, it made me think, really, it made me think that the writers were afraid of being bolder, which is an absolute shame because you had a very ethereal and atmospheric story that became nothing by the end of it. Yes, we have climatic moments. Not really nothing, but like we had climatic moments. But for what? You know? We have to. We are in 2023, so we have to question ourselves why do I want to create a villain? Okay, what does this villain want? Does it want to, does he or she want to destroy the world? Why? Just because? No. Sorry. Not good enough. Not good enough. And that is simply what this villain in this game was all about. You know? Then, but you had like very interesting characters. But at the end of the day, the story was about that. Why bring back this character if you don't want to give it any depth? Why bring him back? You know, because of the nostalgia? Great, it worked. But really, is that it? Just it? So I felt that regarding the story. All right. Now, as a work of art, what about the gameplay? This is where I question the price and the justification for the price. So, this game costs $70. Nintendo said that it is because it's a, it's worthy. It's worth the what the game offers. Is it? I feel uneasy about the Ultra Hand system. I think the game makes us too reliant on it. I don't think it's bad, but I do think that since you have so many buttons and so many buttons to press to, for so many different commands that I question the over reliance on it. I question the over reliance on this Ultra Hand because since when is Zelda about building stuff? I felt like playing a Minecraft game, you know. I never thought that I would feel like this playing a Zelda game. I think Breath of the Wild had the perfect balance in combat and the Sheikah pad. I think the Sheikah pad never overstayed its welcome. I liked what the motorcycle that we could get from the DLC and all that, but here, everything you need to do to proceed in this game, you need you need to build a machine and have enough battery and pay attention to the aerodynamics, and sometimes you spend more time building the vehicles than playing the game, and I don't like it. This is really not for me, and it's something that caught me by surprise because I would never think this would be the main focus of the gameplay, because the combat is virtually the same. Combat is exactly the same, and people will hate me for this, but it's the same as in Twilight Princess. It was the same. The combat in Breath of the Wild was the same as in Twilight Princess. It was the same. This one, Tears of the Kingdom, is the same as Breath of the Wild, which is the same as Twilight Princess, which is very similar to Wind Waker and all that. So I feel that budget was uh, was spent in building this mechanic for whatever reason. I think people loved it. I really couldn't care less. Uh, uh, but I think that the combat per se remained the same. The durability system is still there, it still sucks. How can a knight so powerful, so talented as Link, not be able to punch or to build arrows? You know, uh, you know those very questionable choices that I don't think they were even choices. I don't think that they were taken into consideration because they decided to reinvent the wheel, which I will say we might see more games with these mechanics uh, in the future. So I'll give them credit where credit is due. But I gotta also ask, like, why? Like, why? The game is 60% the same. The Sky Islands, except for one of the dungeons, which is breathtaking. Oh my god, so good. So good, so incredible. But like, the Sky Islands are there. Like, literally, just a piece of land. And they have little importance in the story, you know? Very little importance. The depths are interesting, although painfully complicated if you don't know what to do. Uh, but Hyrule remains the same, and the shrines are still there. And this is what I think. This is why I partially agree when people call it a DLC, a pretentious DLC, because I do think it's a pretentious expansion. Like Dragon Age Awakening is an expansion for Dragon Age Origins. You know, I think Tears of the Kingdom is an expansion for Breath of the Wild, you know. Should I feel like that? Should a $70 game make me feel like that? The music is very similar, although they have darker tunes, which are beautiful. Ah, so beautiful, you know. I like how the dungeons are back, the temples are back, and they felt fresh. They felt like the devs did not forget how to build a very good dungeon, because the Divine Beasts were the main dungeons in Breath of the Wild, and some people complained it. I thought they were okay, but it's like exploring your own Megazord, you know. I like how the side characters integrated in the story, but I question the mechanics of having their spirits nearby rather than themselves. What are they really doing there? You know? Shouldn't they be following you? Shouldn't they be by your side, fighting by your side? Why did I have to send a doppelganger, you know? And why do I have to go to one of them to access their power in the middle of a combat? It's convoluted, you know. They should have spent more time developing a better combat. This, for me, for a game such as this, is unforgivable, you know. So, I think what I want to say with this review is that I had high expectations for this game, and as a buyer, as a client, and most of all, as a fan of the series, I was entitled to have all my expectations, you know. And I don't agree when people say, "Hey, if you don't like it, don't buy it," or "If you don't want it, then don't buy it." Like, how will I know if I don't buy it, you know? And the same applies to, why would you care about my opinion regarding this game? It's like it's better for you to buy it and try it for yourself, but it's a very expensive investment. And the name of uh, this video is it worth the investment, right? I think it is. $70 investment? No. But I doubt this game will ever go on sale. So I think you have to be really realistic about this game, this work of art. On one hand, you have a beautiful and full of quality product. This game never crashed. I never had any performance issues. No problem at all. On the other hand, you have a game that kind of dropped the ball in the high expectation it built, and its story and its combat. I cannot say that the game that you're gonna play is very different from the game you played 6 years ago, but it's still gonna be a very good game to sink your teeth on, you know? With that being said, I give The Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom an 8.5. So, What do you think? Do you agree with me? What do you think of Tears of the Kingdom? Leave a comment down below, subscribe today, and check out the channel for more content. I'll see you all. Bye bye.